Good afternoon, everybody. This is the first webinar that we'll have for 2013. This webinar is being recorded and the file is going to be posted to the Sustainability and Energy website. I've put the link to that website in the bottom left-hand pod under Notes. You can ask any of the presenters questions using the Q&A portal that's in the upper left-hand corner, either during the presentation by typing your questions in, or following the presentation. It'll last about 45 minutes. We'll have some Q&A time. And if you use the little person icon with a hands up, that'll give the microphone to you, and the presenter can allow you to speak so that we can record your question and they can give you an answer. This webinar series is held almost every Tuesday. It'll always be at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless it's scheduled otherwise. I do have a copy of the schedule on the Sustainability and Energy website, and we've confirmed our presenters through the first quarter. I really appreciate you guys taking the time out and being here. We have two great presenters from NWD, Emma Chen and Brian Nohr. They're going to be presenting on best practices for developing sustainable professionals. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Brian and Emma.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining our webinar this afternoon on best practices for developing sustainable professionals. My name is Emma Chen. I'm the Seattle District Sustainability Team Lead, and I'm joined by Brian Nohr, who's the Omaha District Sustainability Coordinator. We're both under Northwestern Division. Upward 2011-72 established the Regional Centers of Expertise across USACE to build competency in energy, sustainable design, and life cycle cost analysis evenly across all the districts. Each division was assigned specific areas of technical expertise in which they are to build their knowledge with the intent of sharing that specialized information and expertise USACE-wide. On this table, you'll notice the first column under Center, all of the areas of sustainability expertise that are defined by this opboard under that first column, Center. Second column indicates the division that's assigned to that area of competency. And the third column under POC lists the Sustainability and Energy Program Manager for each division, who acts as the project lead for the center of expertise in that area. They're responsible for ensuring that the staff within their division are trained and experienced to support the rest of USACE in that particular area of expertise. For example, you'll notice that there's a center established for building envelopes, air tightness, and passive house, and that was assigned to us, Northwestern Division. And so as a result, last year, Seattle District hosted in-house training for passive house, and also Kansas City District began a passive house pilot project. The easiest way to find information on these centers of expertise is through the SharePoint sites. Within the USACE Sustainability and Energy SharePoint site, each Sustainability Center of Expertise has a tab over to the left. You'll notice them over at the left, they're in red. And if you click on them, the content varies at the moment. Typical content that you might expect to see here are tools, links, training information, and references. And if applicable, you might also find some construction details and specs to help you out with that area. In the center, there's a map, and you can click on each division to access specific information on the team members assigned to areas of expertise within that division and their contact information. To access this particular page, you can click on that link at the bottom of the slide. I encourage you to review this website for guidance and training and additional information in these areas. We'll be advertising these centers of expertise just so that not only the sustainability leads are aware of them, but everybody will be aware of them, because these centers exist as a resource for anybody in USACE on any project work to help find them professionals who are trained and experienced in any areas they might be unfamiliar with. I'm just going to go over some brief statistics for Northwestern Division, and then we're going to review some of the best practices and recommendations from Kansas City, Omaha, and Seattle districts, who have all been very proactive in developing their sustainable professionals. This is a table on the professionals within Northwestern Division who have LEED credentials. As you can see, from October in 2010, we started out with 38 people with LEED credentials. Back then, it was only the LEED AP, and then since then, we've grown significantly. They have added a LEED Green Associate credential, and we've grown from 38 people up to 94 people with LEED credentials as of last month. These 94 people include 65 LEED APs and also 29 LEED Green Associates. That's pretty significant because 94 LEED professionals is actually over 20% of the staff that supports MILCON projects within Northwestern Division. And next I'm going to have Brian go over some of the best practices in Kansas City and Omaha District.
Hello, this is Brian, and like she said, I'll go through some of the best practices that the different districts have suggested other people to try to follow. And the first one is from Kansas City District, and we all feel that it's very important that your district leadership strongly supports accreditation and rewards the team members with leadership roles and then assign people on key projects. It's important that people have project experience using the USGBC website so that they're able to take the test and be able to intelligently know what to expect on the test. But it's also important that management recognizes this and helps assign people to projects and so that they have the experience. The important people that you want to make sure have access to the proper projects would be your project architects, your mechanical, your electrical, your civil site people, interior designers, and even your construction reps. They can all benefit by being assigned to the projects and having management being involved in who's being assigned to these projects. It's also important to set broad goals for your district as far as who's going to be pursuing LEED AP and what kind of career path you're put on. So your supervisor needs to know that you have a desire for this, and he also needs to be able to help you. It's very similar to getting your PE or your PA for your professional licenses. Not much different. You need to set up, each district needs to set up a goal for how many LEED APs they think they can reasonably be supporting. The Green Associates as well. You need to be setting up your goals for training to make sure that these people have the access to training. And once you do attain your LEED AP, it's important to have a plan for your continuing education as well. Another best practice from Kansas City District that was put out was that whoever is your point of contact for sustainability, whether it's a program manager or in my case a district coordinator, that you have a procedure as far as how to go through the process. Our procedure here in our district, I've documented it through a series of SOPs, which I've uploaded to our QMS system. So if you have access to QMS, you'll be able to get to our district's basically SOPs for different parts of sustainability. You'll need somebody that can tell people how to go through the testing procedures, how to get registered with USGBC, how to sign up for tests, where to go to get the tests in your locale, and what to study. Through those SOPs, typically you'll have procedures and documents. One example would be you typically need letters of recommendation. In my district, since everybody knows to come to me, they know that I will provide a letter of recommendation. And part of that is part of my job is also to help make sure that you're assigned to a project so that you can get experience, so that what is being put on these letters of recommendation are accurate for you. Part of the best practices can also include helping purchase study guides, working with your district library as far as getting documents so that you can study from them, so that you can also use them for your daily work as well. And there's also some online access tests and guides out there that your procedures will also help guide people to where you can get to the tests or guides online. For the Omaha District, one of the main points that we've put out was that you need to have somebody that's very well established as far as a coordinator. And regardless of what you call the person, if you have a strong person who is able to tell people what they need to do, help with training, help with coordination, that's very important. In my role here in the Omaha District, approximately 70% of my effort is project funded, so I am directly helping on people's projects, helping guide them, help mentoring them. But 30% of my time is overhead funded, and usually that is helping either the district, the division, or headquarters more globally and on bigger picture type items related to sustainability. Like I said earlier, I also develop district processes, SOPs or QMS procedures. I'm also very much involved in all the sustainability training, our webinars, and coordinating local training events as far as what is available by our local USGBC chapter, our ASHRAE chapter, AEI chapter, and AIA chapters. I also help develop and instruct on brown bag seminars that we have here as monthly luncheons here in the district. Another part of my job is to help monitor project progress. We have approximately 80 active projects that are in the USGBC system. I've got 40 certified projects. So part of my role is to help guide and help make sure that these projects are going through the system. I also help with project review and problem resolution related to sustainability. Another best practice that the Omaha District has put forth was we identified specific champions or subject matter expertise. We have people identified for energy modeling, geothermal design. We have an enhanced commissioning subject matter expert who is also in charge of all related scopes of work and contracts relating to enhanced commissioning. We also have several air barrier specialists. We have one guy at a construction field office, so he has a good idea from the construction side of how to implement air barriers. And we also have several people here in the district that are designers that are knowledgeable on air barriers. We also have subject matter expert for each section as far as sustainability, so that when I get a piece of information that should be distributed to other people, I can go to each design discipline and say, hey, this person will distribute within your section. We also do the same thing with our area offices as far as our construction field people. Another thing that we've also reached out to is having key employees reaching out and getting involved with our local USGBC chapter. We recently had one of our interior designers get elected to the secretary position at the Flatwater chapter here in Omaha. And what this does is it helps with collaboration. It also helps with getting points of contact with other subject matter experts and with different material suppliers. So there's a lot of benefit in reaching out into your local chapters.
So here at Seattle District, we're structured a little bit differently from Omaha. We don't actually have a full-time sustainability coordinator that has Brian's role. We thought it was better suited for our needs to have one sustainability team lead, and that's myself, supported by a variety of secondary sustainability leads in various branches within the organization of particular specialties. Now, a majority of these secondary leads are in design branch and also in construction, but we also have a couple in project management, ops, and environmental engineering, and we felt that this was a better way to fulfill our diverse sustainability needs here at Seattle District to cover a majority of the areas that we're covering from our district. Another thing in our district is that we've been very proactive with facilitating test preparation for LEED exams. We developed a SharePoint site and we hosted green bags for employees that were studying for LEED tests at the same time. Now, it really helps to have a common goal. At one point we had 20 people within our district taking the LEED Green Associate exam within the same month. And this made it a lot easier for us to coordinate eligibility requirements such as the letters that Brian mentioned, and even just cover the basics such as letting everybody know how to apply and register for the exam. And we also used our SharePoint site to streamline all that study material that's out there. There's so much out there. It's very overwhelming to a lot of people, and we focused it basically to what was unimportant and what worked best in the past for our people. We also had a lot of success from direct human contact and personalized interaction, and this might be something a little bit different from that the other districts are doing. So because we spread out our sustainability people across the organization, it was easier for us to canvass the organization and talk to each potential candidate frequently and find out, for example, if anything was holding up their application that we could assist with, or what sort of methods of study work best for them personally, whether it's books or online tests. And that way we were able to get them the most effective materials for their individual needs. Now, the purpose of this more individualized approach was to make sure that there were no excuses for people to back out of exams, and it really did boost our success rate of our district in a short amount of time. It also helps to know what resources are out there for your district. One thing that has helped us significantly this past year is the central CPA training funds from headquarters. Last year we applied for and were approved for up to $25,000 each class to host 2 classes in-house. One was the 4-day-long Certified Energy Manager class that we hosted 18 USACE participants for. The second class we hosted was an 8-day-long Certified Passive House Consultant class that we hosted for 13 USACE participants. Now, most of these were Seattle District participants, but we did open it up USACE-wide and got several people coming in from other districts to sit for these classes. And these training funds are actually very, very flexible. You can use them to bring LEED training into your district. This particular year, we decided to tailor it and streamline it. We had quite a few energy retrofit projects coming up, which benefited from us having people trained in energy management. And also when we found out that we were going to be the center of expertise for Passive House, we decided we needed a little bit more training in that. So the point of this is to emphasize that sustainability professionals are not just for LEED. We also pursue other sustainability certifications that are appropriate to our immediate needs for the projects that are going on at the moment. So here at Seattle District, we also encourage upper management to pursue accreditations to set examples for the staff. We currently have a section chief who's a LEED AP, and we have a design branch chief who's a LEED Green Associate who actually took the LEED Green Associate exam at the same time as the other 20 people in the district who are taking it together. This highlighted the importance of sustainability credentials to the section chiefs that are under the design branch chief, to ensure that they would support their own staff in pursuing the same credentials. Also, it encouraged the staff that was under the design branch to pursue it more just because their chief was taking it at the same time. And we also felt that it showed our staff that there is district leadership support for the sustainability program here. And a significant result of having management support was that we actually did get some approval for funding by the corporate board this year to fund some of our Center of Expertise activities.
Okay, so real quick, a lot of the basic recommendations is to make sure you have somebody or a group of people who are designated as your champion as far as getting people their lead APs or accreditations. Make sure that this point of contact is commonly known and is easily accessible for accreditation questions. One of the things that I was able to do here is I created a certified credit template library that everybody in design branch is quite well aware of. So if they are trying to either submit a credit or look up how to do a credit, they have actual certified templates that are complete that they can look at. But it's very important to have people available that have gone through the testing, that have gone through a project to be able to mentor to other people. You need to have somebody that's able to provide letters of recommendation for staff to take the test, so you have to have a process to do that. Provide guidance to section branch and section and branch chief leadership on appropriate training. I spend a lot of time working with our leadership, advising them on what classes would be very good for people to take, where to get the training. I try very hard to work with local training so that the training costs are kept at a minimum, and that way I can maximize the number of classes people can take. And then the last thing is keep track of who you are getting accredited. It's really important to have an idea of who are your certified people, who have areas of expertise, because to go through the whole process of an integrated design, you need to have an entire team that's working well together, and it's very important to have every position filled by people that know what to do or know where to go to get an answer. So keep track of who you have in your district and what their capabilities are. The other thing is when people do get their lead AP, make it meaningful to them. Reward them. Make sure that they know that it does make a difference for your district. Typically, what we've done here is give on-the-spot awards. We usually announce within the branch whoever got their lead AP or professional exam passed. We also cover the cost of taking the passing test. So that way you try to help the employees a little bit as far as getting through the costly process. The last thing that I've got here is encourage study groups. Typically, we've had very good success with small groups of 4, 5, maybe 6 people studying together. They've also branched out to the local chapter to other people who are also taking the test. You can either do it in-house or with your local chapter. Either way will work. Typically, the best way it works is have one person to be designated as a group leader to help organize it and keep things running. And also recognize the teams as they get a project certified. You can also do it with on-the-spot awards and stuff like that, but it's very important to let the whole district know when you're getting a project actually certified. In our district, one of the things that we've done is we've gathered all of the certificates, and in our main branch conference room, we've got them all on display. So it is important to recognize the employees for their efforts.
And here's just a brief overview of the GBCI accreditation. Once you decide you want to become a lead accredited professional or lead green associate, first thing you need to do is decide which one of those applies to you. The lead AP is a higher level of certification. However, you'll have to check your eligibility. It's based on your experience with lead or sustainability projects. There's a list on the website so you can see which one applies to you. We find that the lead AP is appropriate for those of us who support our MILCON projects on the design and construction teams, sometimes the project management teams. There are two separate exams, and you should always check with your supervisor for your process to get reimbursed for the test fees, because this could vary between the districts. The first exam is the Lead Green Associate exam, $50 application and $150 test. It's a 2-hour exam, and it must be taken first. Even if you are pursuing the Lead AP, you need to pass the Green Associate exam first. However, it can actually be taken at the same time as the Lead AP exam. You could schedule the Green Associate exam for immediately before your Lead AP, and if you pass, then they'll put you right into the next test. The Lead AP exam is a $100 application plus $300 test. The exam is about 4 hours long and 200 questions and significantly more detailed than the AP exam. And like I mentioned, you can schedule it for the same time as the Green Associates exam or any time in the future that you feel ready. You also need to decide what sort of specialty you want to be. All of our lead APs here are BD+C, which stands for Building, Design, and Construction, which is appropriate for all of our MILCON and vertical construction projects. However, if your district has other types of projects, there are also specialties for lead O&M, interior design, homes, and neighborhood development. Next, you'd want to create your USGBC account. This is where you submit your application and apply for exams. Contact your district sustainability POC for the corporate access ID number. Since USACE is a USGBC member, you are eligible for a discounted rate on any kinds of exams or books that you purchase from USGBC. For the Lead Green Associate, the only eligibility requirement for previous experience is that you need some limited involvement on a sustainability project, and your district would write your letter of eligibility for that. For the Lead AP exam, you must have experience within the past 3 years, specifically on a LEED registered or certified project. You could be on the design or construction team, sometimes even being internal reviewer for the LEED project counts. You should definitely make sure that you are a team member listed on the LEED Online, because this documents your role on the project for USGBC. Next, you'll have to study for the exam. There is a list of exam content in the candidate handbook that you get from USGBC Online, and you'll need to know the LEED reference guide thoroughly. You should contact your district LEED POC for any kind of other study material that's available to you. If your district does not have very much study material, you can always contact us here at Seattle District, and we can give you access to our SharePoint site, which has all kinds of good study material on that our people have used and used successfully. After you pass your test and you become a credentialed professional, you will need to maintain your credential through continuing education activities. You're required to do 30 hours of continuing education every 2 years if you're a LEED AP, only 15 hours if you're a LEED Green Associate. However, this requirement often overlaps other continuing education requirements that you might have. For example, if you have licenses or certifications as a registered architect or a PE or PMP, most of these credits will overlap those. So here in the district, we use it both ways. Basically, we have LEED projects. We use our project work to show our eligibility to get these LEED credentials. And then after we get the LEED credentials, we use the continuing education requirements to increase participation on a lot of our LEED project tasks. So here in our district, where we've been very proactive in pushing for eco-charrettes for every project, we've used the continuing education requirements to boost the participation of our team members for these eco-charrettes. On top of that, there's also LEED project participation that counts. You get 1 continuing education credit per template that you fill out on your project, or 2 if you're an administrator on your project. There's also standard training that you get as a USACE employee that counts towards continuing education, such as the Passive House class that we hosted here gave each each student 32 GBCI credits, which pretty much fulfilled everything that they needed for the next 2 years. So it's extremely critical for districts to support training to maintain these competencies and credentials. These links here shown on the screen are just a couple things you might find handy. The first one is just the link to the basic credential information. The greenlearner.com site contains some free practice exams for the LEAD, AP, and GA exams. And at the bottom, the Army USGBC webinar subscription will give you free access to USGBC webinars, which aren't specifically for test preparation, but they're a very good resource to learn about LEAD credits while you're studying, and once you get your credentials, to meet your continuing education requirements. So that concludes our presentation, and we're taking questions now.
If anybody has any questions at this time, you can either raise your hand or you can type into the questions in the Q&A bar. So I think we have one, and it's from Brandon Martin, and he's asking, how many CMP credits can you get for eco-charrette participation?
Okay, they actually recently changed the categories on that, so that would fall under, oh, I don't remember the name of the category off the top of my head, but that is actually an unlimited category if you're a part of the team that is presenting the eco-charrette. If you are just participating as, say if you're a member of the DPW who's just observing it, then that is considered a presentation.
Do we have any other questions? Mark, you raised your hand. All right, Mark, I've given you audio permissions. You can go ahead and ask. I can't hear anything, so if you have a question, you can go ahead and type it into the Q&A form. Okay, well, I'll check it out. Well, Emma and Brian, do you guys have any last tips or tricks or anything that you want to reiterate before we wrap up?
Lindsay or Emma had mentioned before about some of the work that you do counts for your CMP. Every time you work on a lead credit on a project that's actually registered and going for certification, I think on each credit you get credit at least 1 or 2 hours on each credit. Is that right, Emma?
Yeah, that's correct. You get 1 credit per, I believe, per template that you fill out with your name on it. And that's how they track it. And yep. You get 2 total if you're the administrator of the project. And I believe those are unlimited as well.
Yep.
So the more projects you can work on, the better.
Yep.
I've got 2 more questions.
And one of the things that I do here in Omaha. Okay.
Go ahead.
I was going to ask, Has anybody gotten any luck on the CP18 online training? Have you guys used that in either of your districts?
I don't think we have here.
Yeah, we've had several people who got access and went into it and completed some webinars on there. So yes, like I mentioned, they're more for continuing education. They do have a couple that are very broad for lead that would help somebody who's studying for the exam. But as for continuing education, it's a great resource for getting anything that you need if you're not getting the training or project work in-house that you need for your continuing education.
And I can put that link for the CP18 if anyone is interested on the notes section. So that can be posted as a link to the Sustainability and Energy webpage. Another question from Brandon is, what other sustainability certifications is NWD pursuing aside from CEM and Passive House?
Here in Omaha, we do have a guy that went and got a geothermal design certification. So we have a person that has done that.
We were considering also doing the renewable energy professional training and certification, but that's undecided at this point.
And who is that through?
That would be through AEE, Association of Energy Engineers.
We also have a energy manager training. I know that AXIM has been working on developing, and that would be Army-wide, but they're also looking at incorporating that with federal government.
Brian, I thought you had a couple people in your district that were certified for water conservation too, right?
They're not well, let me look them up. We have several people that are certified floodplain managers. So
Right.
if you're getting into low impact site development, we have a couple guys that have done that. And then there's a couple of us that have gone to the waste cap AP as far as how to deal with construction waste.
Okay, yeah, I believe we have one in our district also that has that.
There's another question, which is the Corps making any effort to incorporate the Envision rating tool, which has to do with sustainable infrastructure? I'll let you guys answer whether you're handling it district-wide, and then I can talk about what we're doing at headquarters.
I'm not very aware of any effort in that area here in our district.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any effort in our district either for that.
I know at headquarters we've been looking a lot at civil works, and that will be kind of the new push as we continue to move forward, is incorporating Corps-owned facilities as well as our infrastructure type projects. And Envision as a rating tool has been looked at, as well as SITES, S-I-T-E-S. The University of Texas in Austin has developed and worked on rating tools specifically for like civil works projects, and so that is something that we've been looking here at. But as of right now, we don't have any direction from, as far as federal policy goes, to incorporate other than the existing federal mandates like EPACT and ESA overall. And then I have two more questions. One is, has there been any coordination between the districts and CASI, the Center for Advancement of Sustainable Innovations, which is part of ERDIC-SERL? And so I'm guessing that that question is, are you guys working directly with CASI?
No, we're not here in Seattle District that I'm aware of.
I don't think we are here either.
Another question is, Are the Garrison DPW employees allowed to access the core sustainability portal, and do we have to log into the site? The answer is absolutely. We really encourage anyone to utilize the portal. There are 2 levels to the core sustainability, the Sustainability and Energy webpage. One requires a military email in order to get access, just because we don't want some of the information being distributed outside of the government. But there is also a public page that's just a little shallower in depth that has most of the information, including all of the recordings for the webinars. Those are all public. And we even have YouTube video links for them. Rich just added, Rich from Erdic CERTL added that the MSCs do have a technical POC at CERTL. That's all the questions that I've got. Did you guys want to elaborate or expand on anything, or we have any other questions?
If anybody's got any questions about these kind of issues, I'm always available and I'm willing to answer the question, so it's not a big deal.
Same here. Anybody can contact me with questions following this, or like I mentioned, if you want access into our lead study site that's just for our district, we can also give access to anybody USACE-wide for that one to get access to all of our study material that we've downloaded there.
Well, I really appreciate both of you guys' time in putting together this presentation. I know that it takes a lot of effort and energy to do it, but you guys are definitely leading the way as far as being able to develop and output the most sustainable projects within the Corps. So we really it helps to hear those lessons learned. And I really appreciate all of our participants' time in taking out of your day to listen to this so that we can kind of further and advance the cause. Again, these presentations are being recorded. They will be posted to the Sustainability and Energy website. You can also download the slides from the Sustainability and Energy website. They will be available tomorrow. I'll have everything posted, as well as a DCO link and then a YouTube link if you would like to forward that link to anybody outside the government. And we will be having our next presentation will be on Tuesday, January 22nd at the same time. And I will send out an email reminder for that shortly. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.